Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Creative Ops, a podcast for creative people by, that's right, creative people. And I am your host today, Christopher Talon. Thank you for joining us, and let me tell you something. This show is made possible by Hey Guys Media Group. Go check them out at heyguysmediagroup.com. They've got everything you need, all the know-how to make your own podcast. They'll help you with the editing, they'll help you get it launched, they'll help you with the cover art, all of it. So check them out if you've ever thought about making a podcast, because Hey Guys Media Group can help you do it. heyguysmediagroup.com. Let them help you make your podcast. Rivertown Adventures is also a big part of what keeps this show going. rivertownadventures.com. They are the most fun you're going to have outside in the Lansing, Michigan area. And they have new routes coming this year on the Red Cedar River, the Grand River, and the Looking Glass River. So go check out Rivertown Adventures at rivertownadventures.com and live free, go paddle. Finally, Baby Farm Soaps. Get your stinky self some soap, man. You stink. No, I'm just kidding. You don't. Well, maybe you do. And if you do, get some Baby Farm soaps. But maybe you don't stink. Maybe you just need some lip balm or a bath bomb or some lotion or some beard oil. They got all that stuff, man. Baby Farm Soaps. They're on Facebook. Go over there, tell them that I said hello, and get some really awesome stuff. That just about does it for that. So all you need to know now is that my guest today is Justin D'Autremont. He's a podcaster from the east side of Michigan, well, originally from Tennessee, now living on the east side of Michigan. He's going to tell you about the Drunk Conspiracies Podcast, which me and my technical overlord Jason were on, and he's got a couple other podcasts too. This is a guy that you're going to want to know about because he's talented and he's good at what he does, and yeah, here's Justin D'Autremont to tell you more about it himself. So enjoy this and go check out Enjoy this and check out Drunk Conspiracies Podcast. Now on to the interview with Justin D'Autremont. I heard you say in one episode that you liked living in Tennessee better than you like living in Michigan. And I can relate to that to some degree because I lived in Florida for a little while. It is different. Mm-hmm. I feel like right. When I lived in the South, people just like at the grocery store were more friendly. Like they were more like, oh, excuse me. And more just, in Michigan, people, if you get in their way at the grocery store and then you look behind you, you're like, oh, sorry about that. They're just kind of like, ugh. And in the South, people are like, oh, you're fine, darling. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. One of my first times at the grocery store after moving back to Michigan, my whole family's from Michigan. I was born in Tennessee, though, and I was raised down there. I lived up here for like a year and a half in high school, then went back, and then I moved up here like back and forth like 2 other times. But I grew up mostly in Tennessee. One of the last times I moved back here in 2011. Uh-huh. And one of my first times at the grocery store, I was coming out of an aisle, another person was coming out of an aisle, and we kind of bumped carts. Me being from the South, like I grew up with manners, like it's just how it is down south. Uh-huh. I said, "Oh, pardon me." And this person looked at me like I was the biggest like jerk in the world. And I was just like, I was kind of taken back by it because I know how it is with like people in the North, people in the South. And I understand. I've always known since I was young, like the difference between the North and the South, and like people are generally nicer in the South. Not saying people up North aren't nice. I have come across some very nice people in Michigan.
Yeah, but manners are a bigger part of the culture.
It is. Manners are drilled into your head at a very young age in the South. I grew up saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, and it's just the upbringings are totally different between the South and the North.
Yeah.
And
do you get into it at all with your family when they're like, well, yeah, but we're Michigan people? You're like, you're Michigan people. I ain't Michigan people.
Somewhat like some of my family are be like, oh, well, you're a Michigander now because you live in Michigan. I'm like, I consider myself a Tennessean and a Michigander, and at that aspect, but like I was born in Tennessee, I was raised down there, like it's always going to be a part of me.
Yeah.
I like to tell people I'm a Southern gentleman with a Yankee attitude. That's what I tell people
I like that.
because I've lived both. I've grown up in both, but overall, I would prefer being back home in Tennessee over Michigan.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's the weather, and people, like we already said, are just they got a little bit more spark in their eye, I guess.
Hmm.
What was the moving back and forth? Moving to follow family, following jobs, or
Mostly family following family. We came up here when I came up here in high school. My mom came up here for another job, and so we came up here for like a year and a half, and then she was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna take a job back in Tennessee." I'm like, "Thank you, let's go." So we went back down, and then so I finished out my high school career down there, and then when I was 18, like right after I had finished high school, my mom came back up to Michigan. I stayed in Tennessee. Um, went through like a bad breakup,
Mm.
so I was like, I'm gonna go up and chill out in Michigan for a little bit. So I came back up here for about 6 months, I want to say. 6 to 8 months.
Mhm.
I stayed back up here. Then I went back to Tennessee, and then my brother-in-law's dad passed away, and he was the last bit of family that like my brother-in-law talked to.
Mm.
So after his dad passed away, he told my sister, he's like, "Hey, if you want to go to Michigan, that were because my all my family was up here at the time. Besides me, I'd gone back. He's like, "Hey, if you want to go to Michigan, we can be with your family. We can do that." So they decided to come back, and so I was like, "Well, I guess since now all my family's in Michigan, I'll come back too." And that was the last move.
Yeah, it was kind of the same story. My dad's family did a lot of moving around. Well, first his parents came from Italy to New York, and then from New York to Michigan, and it was all kind of the same thing. One person moved because they got a job at like the car factory, then somebody else moved,
Right.
and then they all started to just kind of follow. So, yeah. Um, all right, man. So, how long ago did you start getting into podcasting? Not like listening to podcasting, but actually making your own.
Uh, Back in the end of July, beginning of August was when I first launched my podcast.
Just last year, 2020.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it seems like I don't know. Maybe you're just naturally better at it than I do than I am. I was gonna say you seem like you've been doing it longer than me.
No, I it was like July 27th or 28th. I launched my first episode of the Drunk Conspiracies podcast, and yeah, so I've only been at it what is it like going on 5 months now? 5 months,
Yeah.
5 6 months now. Yeah, but no, man, I'm very very new to like podcasting. I've only really been listening to podcasts for like maybe a year. Like I haven't even been listening to podcasts that often, and
Yeah.
then just started listening to them more, getting really into it, and then I was like, it'd be kind of cool to have a show. And then one day I finally decided to just buy all the equipment. 6 months later, here I am.
Did you have anybody that kind of gave you any pointers along the way, or did you kind of rely on online community and just YouTube videos, or what?
Online community, YouTube videos, Google. Um, I did at that when I first started. I knew nobody who had a podcast. Like I knew nothing about podcasting. I didn't know how to edit.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just kind of like dove into it and just did my research and joined some Facebook groups and stuff like that. And that kind of helped me learn the editing process. Well, I still got some things to work out on editing, I think, but
Mm.
for the most part, I got it pretty well figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jason, he was on your show with me. He
Hmm.
was going to be on with us tonight, but he's got two of his own podcasts, and I think they're recording one tonight. He said to say hi to you, though.
All right, tell him I said hi.
Yeah, I will. He was helping me out to get things started because he actually kind of twisted my arm a little bit. He had me on his show when our kids were playing, and he's like, "So what do you do?" I was like, "Actually, I'm staying at home right now, and I started writing a book. I used to teach middle school English, so I'm doing this to kind of not go crazy. He's like, "Oh, come talk about it on my podcast." And then he was like, "You should do a podcast." I was like, "Man, I don't know how to start any of that." He's like, "I'll get you started." And he told me where to go for cover art. I actually used Fiverr.com. Did you make your
Yeah.
own? Did you go to some place like that?
No, I actually make all my own. I looked into fiber and all that, and but I was like, you know what? I've always been kind of like creative with
Yeah.
like stuff like that. I can't draw to save my life. Like I can't do my own stuff like that, but throwing like pics together and art and like stuff like that on apps and stuff, I've always been decent at, I'd say. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just do my own and see how far it gets me. So to this day, man, I do all my own artwork, cover art.
I dig those promo pictures that you do too. I saw the one that you got up
Yeah,
for our episode. Looks sweet.
yeah. Finally launched the episode today.
Yeah, this one will drop. Let's see, today's Saturday, so not this Monday, but the Monday after. Just because I release every other Monday. Otherwise, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, know what we're talking about. Oh yeah, you sent me that picture, and then I sent it to my mom. I was like, "Look, I was on a podcast." She's like, "Oh no, don't tell me you were going on a podcast talking about COVID's fake." I was like, "No, no, Mom, don't worry, don't worry. We were just talking about conspiracies and talking shit and having fun."
Right.
So, where did the idea for the Drunk Conspiracy Podcast come from?
So me and my wife one night we're sitting on the couch, we're drinking, getting a little drunk together, and we're watching Drunk History.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Is that on Comedy Central?
I think so. I usually watch it on YouTube, but yeah,
I think it's on Comedy Central, maybe. Yeah, but so we're watching Drunk History, and like we're talking, and I've always been into conspiracy theories.
yeah,
So like we're drinking one night, I'm like, you know what would be cool? I was like, if they made a Drunk Conspiracies TV show, I was like,
yeah,
I'd be all over that. And then like I'm pretty sure it was my wife who put the idea in my head, like because I had been talking about wanting to start a podcast at
yeah.
this point, and I'm pretty sure my wife was the one who's like, why don't you do a drunk podcast, like Drunk Conspiracies podcast? And just like the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like,
Yes.
easy. I was like, yes. I was like, because I was wondering what kind of podcast I was going to start off with,
Mm-hmm.
because like now I have two podcasts that I'm doing now. I'm about to drop a third one with my wife, but just like getting my feet wet into the podcasting community,
Yeah.
I was just like kind of like killing myself on like what I should talk about. And when she told me that, I was just like the light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, Drunk Conspiracies Podcast. Like the name was right there and everything, so I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, it's pretty easy. So that's basically how I came about starting it.
So from the time that you were like, I kind of want to do a podcast, to the time that you actually dropped your first episode, how much time and like preparation and just getting ready, all said and done, was went into that?
To be honest, not that much. I got it in my head I was gonna start a podcast, so I'm like, all right, I got to start a podcast, but I had no equipment for it.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, when I can finally get the equipment, I'll start like doing some stuff for the podcast. And as soon as I got the equipment, I told my wife, I'm like, all right, well, because she was my first guest on my show, was my
Mm-hmm.
wife. So
Yeah, you
I
guys
was
have
like,
been
hey,
2-3 shows now?
for
4?
our yeah, my Christmas special on Home Alone
Yeah.
was
I,
our fourth one.
I dug that one, man. I'd never heard some of those
Yeah,
time travel ones before.
right? It's kind of trippy. It makes you think a little bit. But yeah, I thought it'd be a cool little Christmas special to do for the show. But yeah, I told my wife, I was like, hey, you want to do my first episode with me? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I let her decide on the conspiracy theory. She picked Marilyn Monroe, and I was like, all right, let's do our research. We did our research and came in the room and recorded it. But yeah, man, I probably should have prepared more. From like just from the start of me thinking I'm gonna start a podcast to me actually like recording it and releasing it. Really did not put a lot of it didn't take very long. It was kind of a quick quick process because I was just so excited to like get it out.
I was gonna say, are you that kind of guy that you're like, I'm gonna do something, and then you just go and you get all the stuff for it, and you just jump right in?
Yeah, a lot of the times, yeah. Like I geek myself up too much,
Yeah.
and then I'm just ready to do it. I'm just like, let's go.
My producer, Jason, he was the kind of guy who was, every 6 months he had a different hobby that he was really into. He started learning to play the drums. He was keeping bees for a little while, and then he picked up on the podcast thing, and he was like, "Yeah, I thought this might just be something that I tried and moved on to the next thing." But it stuck. Were you kind of the same way, like just looking for a new hobby, or did this kind of strike you out of nowhere?
Kind of struck me out of nowhere. Like I said, I haven't even been listening to podcasts that long. It was for like when I got my new job, I was driving like 45 minutes there and back each way um to work, and I just kind of got burnt out on like listening to some music and stuff. So like
Hmm.
I started listening to some podcasts, and I just started listening to them to work, from work, and stuff like that. And then it was just like it just dawned on me. I'm like, this would be kind of cool to like get my because I like talking about things. I like talking about different types of subjects. So I was like,
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of cool if I could start a podcast. I'm like, I probably won't have many people listen to it, but I was just like, but for me, I feel like it would be kind of cool, and it will kind of help me because a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I'm a very shy person.
Hmm.
Like I'm extremely shy. Like when I first meet somebody, I'm not one to like just like jump in and start talking normally. I'm more of an observer. I like to sit back and I observe things
Hmm.
as opposed to just like jumping in and talking. So I'm extremely shy person, and I kind of figured if I had a podcast and like interview people and talk to different people, especially like people I don't know and meet over the internet to come on my show or vice versa of me being on their show. I figured it would help me kind of come out of my shell a little bit and kind of like not be as shy as I am. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just me listening to podcasts and then like me being like, oh, maybe this can help me with being shy and all that. So and it's helped me out quite a bit actually. It's been it was it was very therapeutic for me.
Hmm. Yeah. I was just talking about that on the last episode that we did too, because it was just kind of like a look back on the whole year episode. Um, I've never really been a shy person, but listening to myself have 1 hour conversations with people, you can't help but notice like, oh shit, I do that when I talk to people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, sometimes I cut people off when they're in the middle of talking and talk about something completely different. I should stop trying to do that. Or something I do on the podcast all the time. I go, I want to ask you something. Like, well, of course I want to ask you something. That's what the whole fucking point of the show. But
Right.
so yeah, so I kind of like cut like things that I didn't like about the way that I converse. Um,
Hmm.
and then also it it helped me get a little bit more confidence when talking to people too, because I used to, in the first couple episodes of the show probably aren't as good for the same reason. I would ask you a question and then completely back off the mic, and I would just let the person talk and 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 talk. And listening to that, it's like, man, I should have cut that guy off there. So, you learn like, okay, you know what, I got to be a little bit more assertive with myself too on the show, like you were talking about too. So,
Hmm.
yeah, you can either keep listening to yourself do the things you don't like, or step up and make a change. So
Right. Yeah.
it's funny the psychology that goes into doing these.
Right. Yeah. Because I had the same problem. Like once I got like my first like I think I think I realized it after like my first two episodes that like I would uh I would just kind of I would cut people off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I got to stop doing that. I'm like, first of all, that's like, I feel like that's extremely rude of myself. But,
Right.
but in But the thing is, too, with a drunk podcast, man. I mean, as you're going, you're getting more drunk as you drink,
Hmm.
and like it happens. I mean, people cut people off, like especially after drinking. But
Yeah.
I have toned back a little bit, made sure I waited till like I'm pretty sure the person like stopped talking for their thought, and I'll jump in there with something. But yeah, I had to work on that, but I feel like I've gotten better at that.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you painfully self-aware.
Right, it does.
Then the first guest was easy for you. It was your wife. My first, yeah, just my first guest was a good friend of mine. Then after that, I kind of started reaching into social media to find people. How did you do that? Same way?
Yeah, pretty much. My first guest was my wife. My second guest was my wife's best friend, and because me and my wife used to work together at the same place, and
Hmm.
that's where we met her best friend. So she said she'd come on and do my show, so I did that, and then I joined some podcasting guest groups on Facebook, and just put it out there, told them about my podcast, told them I was looking for guests, and just had a bunch of people respond to me. So just set it up with random people and have them come on my show. I've went and done a couple shows myself, and pretty much like that. But I have had some other guests that I actually do know personally, but the
Yeah.
majority of my guests have been people I've met online.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. It's probably been close to a 50-50 split.
Hmm.
But and maybe it's just me, but I haven't had great luck with the Facebook guest pages. Like, I mean, I caught you on there, and
Hmm.
I think I've hooked some of my other podcast friends up and like, hey, I saw somebody that kind of matches like something that would be good for your show, but like it hasn't produced tons and tons for me. Have you had better luck?
I've had quite a bit of luck. Yeah. I'll usually get when I put out a post that I'm looking for a new guest. Excuse me. I get roughly like 3 to 4 people who will reach out and be like, "Hey, it sounds cool. I'd be interested." And like I'll talk to them and stuff like that. And then if I think they'll be a good guest, we'll set something up. But yeah, I feel like I've had pretty good success in those groups with nailing down guests for my show.
Yeah. Well, your podcast just sounds like a good time. Just getting drunk and talking about conspiracies, and it is a good time. If anybody out there is thinking about getting on that show, that's the one you want to get on. It's a great time. The artwork that you do you mind me
Mhm.
asking you what app you use for that, or what program?
Let me. I use a few different apps. Cause I always have my guests send me pictures of themselves, so I
Yeah.
can put their face on it. I use an app called Buzz Art to I'll cut out the background, so I can just get that way. I'm taking out the background of the picture and only having the person in the picture. So I
Yeah.
use that for my to get the outline of just the person, and then I use Poster Maker for my like for the lettering and all that,
Yeah.
and making the actual poster. I just like whatever conspiracy we're talking about, I'll Google that, and
Uh-huh.
then I'll find a picture. I'll find a picture on Google, and that's what I'll use as the background. And then I go to the Buzz Art. I'll edit it to where I only have, like, I cut out the background, only have the image of the person, and just overlap them on the Poster Maker. And then I do the fonts and everything on Poster Maker.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use I make the video promos with, what's that thing called? I got it right over here. Headliner.
Okay.
And that's well, they've got a paid version and there's a free version too, but you can make like 10 free promos a month, and then after that you got to pay for it. But I only
Okay.
put out 2 episodes a month, so I can make 2 promos for video and 2 promos per episode and still have some left over.
Okay.
But yeah,
I may have to look into that.
it's a cool one, yeah, because you can make it and it'll give you the different sizes for whatever thing you're going to upload it to: YouTube, IG, Facebook. and it's got the different timestamps preset on it, so you can set it for, you know, your Instagram stories or a full post or whatever.
Mhm. All right, yeah, because I do my I release my show through Buzzsprout.
Yeah. Okay.
So on Buzzsprout, there's a place where you can actually do like 30-second clips, 60-second clips
Oh,
of your
really?
show. Yeah, so I actually just use that since my episodes are already uploaded to that. I'll do that, and I'll make I think I usually do like 30-second little clips of my
Mm-hmm.
show, and then I put them on my TikTok because I made a TikTok for my podcast.
Got to get on TikTok, man. I'm not on TikTok.
Dude, me and my wife got on it recently, and it's just like that's like we just send each other a bunch of videos all day. So, I have my own personal TikTok, and then I have one for my show. So, but yeah, I was like looking into things, and everyone's like, "Oh, TikTok is like does a lot for my podcast," and I was like, I didn't even think about that. So, got on there, made a profile for it, and yeah, I just throw those 30-second clips of my show up on my TikTok, and I'm not really sure how much like foot traffic it's actually brung to my show, but
Right.
the doing pretty good for only being 5-6 months in. So I
Yeah.
just hit my 15. I just hit 1,500 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
I think I'm at like 1,550 something now right now. So not too bad for 6 months of work. I think
Yeah.
I
And
could be wrong. I mean, I don't know, but
are you putting one out every 2 weeks? Every week?
I've been trying to do every week, but since November, and then like up until recently has been rougher for me. Like my father passed away in
Yeah.
early December.
I remember you saying that. Sorry to hear that, man.
I appreciate it. But with my dad passing away, I kind of like fell back a little bit because I had to be with my family.
Sure, sure.
I my dad has 8 kids altogether. There's 8 of us total. So it's a lot of us. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I just needed to be there with my family, and we needed to do that. And then right after that, the holidays came, Christmas and New Year. So it was kind of just with the passing of my father, then transitioning right into the holidays, it kind of set me back a little bit. But I'm trying to get back on to the point where I'm putting one out every week.
Yeah. You said that there's 8 kids in all in your family?
Yeah, my dad has 8 kids with 5 different women.
Okay. Where do you
Yeah,
line up in the span of those 8 kids, age-wise?
I am I am number 5.
Okay. That's my favorite number,
So
by the way.
oh, thank you. The my oldest brother Chris is how old is he? 38. I think he's 38.
Okay.
Uh, then my my two oldest sisters, Alicia and Dana, are like 35 or 36. But this sounds bad, but they're 2 weeks apart with different moms. So my dad got around, well,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say the least.
Is
And
what it
then
is.
right, and then I have another older sister who's full blooded. We have the same mom and dad.
Okay.
And then so she's 32, I'm 30, and then there's triplets,
Oh my goodness.
and they're 19. So they're quite a bit younger. They're 11 years younger than me. So, but yeah, my dad was married to my mom, and then my dad was married to the triplets' mom. So he's only been married to two of the 5 women. But yeah, so we range from like 38 to 19.
Okay. Yeah, my wife, she comes from a decent sized family. She's got 5 siblings, and she's second youngest out of all of them. And yeah, they go
Okay.
up from, geez, I'm trying to think, what are they now? Like Her oldest one's probably close to 50, and then the youngest one's just behind us. He's like 35, 36.
Okay, nice. So yeah,
How old
a
are
little
you?
bit of an age. I'm 30.
You're 30? Okay.
Yeah.
You look way older than me, so no, I'm just kidding.
No, if I people never believe me when I tell them I'm 30. When I have my beard like I have now,
Oh, sure,
uh, I'll get that I look older. But man, if I'm clean shaved, I I look like I'm still a teenager.
yeah. Speaking of baby faces, well, not baby faces, but baby voices. When your show starts, is that your kid saying "Welcome to the Drunk Party"?
That's my son.
That is so cute, man. How many times do
Yeah,
you have to get him to do that?
one take. I
So cute.
I kid you not, one take. Um,
Uh,
he knew I was starting a podcast because I was looking like doing the mute. I was looking at music for it and stuff like that. And he's only 5, and he was like sitting next to me and like listening to the music, and he's like, Daddy, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get the music for the intro to my new podcast I'm doing. And then like I'm trying to wrap my head around like what am I gonna like, because I wanted some like vocals in it.
yeah.
But I was like, what am I gonna say like in the intro and stuff like that? And then my son he's like, Daddy, I want to do something. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, all right, I can probably have. I was like, I was like, give me a creepy laugh. And so he like that creepy laugh he does in my intro. He did, yeah, he did that. And it was just so cute that I was just like, how am I not gonna do that? So I bring him in like the room where I record and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, buddy. I was like, when I point at you, I want you to say, "Welcome to Drunk Conspiracies," and I want you to start laughing like you did. And he's like, okay, Daddy. So I hit the record button. I point at him. He does this thing. I stop. I go back and listen to it. I put it into like I found the music that I wanted. I dubbed it in with the music, and it fit perfect with from the time the music starts and then to where he says it, then stops that creepy laugh, and then the second part of like the song kind of like kicks in. It was just perfect, and I was like, that's my intro. So one take, and I had it.
That's awesome.
And to this day, man, like when I'm editing my episodes and stuff, when I go throw my intro in, every time he hears it, he gets like the big smile on his face and like runs over to me, and he's like, Daddy, I want to hear it. I want to hear it, because he knows it's him. So and he calls it our show. Like he'll tell,
Okay.
yeah, he's like, oh, are you doing another one of our shows? And I'm like, yeah, buddy. I was like, that's what Daddy's doing right now. So he gets a kick out of it. He loved it. I loved having him do it. So it was cool that I was able to add my son in there.
Yeah. It's a whole family affair, man. That's awesome.
Right.
So, when did your other podcast start? Tell me what that one's called again.
My second one is called One on One with Justin Diachema, which is I interview like celebrities, musicians, athletes, actors. I've had a couple fighters on my show, and motivational speakers, just any type. When did I launch that one? September, October, I want to
Okay.
say.
So
So
not really very
that's
far
fairly
apart
new.
from when you started the other one then. Really?
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, just within a few months of each other.
You just couldn't get enough, huh? And you're starting a third one as well. Well, hold
Yeah,
on.
it's
Let's not get too far ahead with that one. I want to start
all right.
focus on the one-on-one. So that one, the process of getting a guest has got to be a little bit different than just kind of like casting a net, being like, who wants to come on, right?
It's so much harder because I do interview like celebrities.
Mm,
So I have to reach out to these people. If I can find their I signed up for like IMDb Pro,
hmm
because on there, when you look up an actor, it has contact information.
Oh, okay.
And some of them actually have like their personal emails, but a lot of them have like their manager or their publicist.
Right.
emails. So what I do is I go on there and think of someone I'd like to have on my show, see if I can find their manager or their publicist. I'll shoot them an email, and if they get back to me, they do. If not, like I they a lot of times they won't respond, but other times I've had them respond and be like, no, I don't think it's a good fit. And I completely understand. Like, I'm not a big, like, my name's not that big yet,
Right.
especially for that show. So, like, I know it's a little harder getting some celebrities, but other than that, man, I jump on Instagram and I'll shoot out a message to some respond, some don't. But I've had quite a bit so far, and I still got some I gotta put out. I haven't put out all my episodes yet, but it's hit or miss. But it is a lot harder trying to book for that podcast as opposed to the Drunk Conspiracies.
Yeah, I would imagine so. You should invite one of them to come on the Drunk Conspiracies podcast after they do that show sometime.
I thought about it, man. I don't know what celebrity I'd try to reach out to for that one, but I've thought about it. But I've had some pretty good interviews so far for that show. I've had some somewhat big names, so
Yeah.
no one like major, but I've had some decent.
Well, I don't know, man. You had that dude. He's been in like everything, but the first thing that always comes to my mind is Cool Runnings.
Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably the biggest star I've had on my show so far.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys
that was cool.
If you look at his IMDb profile, you'll be like, "Oh, geez, I've seen like 20 of this guy's movies," but that's the only one that always comes to mind first is Cool Runnings.
Yeah. No, he's been in so many things, but I've been a fan of his for a very long time. Since Cool Runnings, like I mean, one of my other favorite movies he does is Above the Rim with Tupac.
Yes.
I love that movie. And I had someone reach out to me on Facebook. I put in that I was looking for a guest for that show, and I had some publicist person like reach out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we have a list of different celebrities that we could book for your show. If you want any of them, email me." They email me the list. They're like, "Email me, we'll set it up." So like I'm scrolling down the list and I see Leon. It says Leon Robinson.
Yeah.
Because he goes by just Leon. And then I saw Leon Robinson and I was like, who's Leon Robinson? So I type it into IMDb and it brings up Leon. I'm like, hell yeah. So I was like, I emailed the person back. I was like, I'd like to interview Leon. They're like, all right, day and a time. And I gave them a day and a time. They're like, all right, gave me his, they connected us through email. And then I started talking to him. We set up a date and everything. And then, had our interview.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So, yeah, he was cool. I interviewed Scott Swartz from A Christmas Story and The Toy.
Yeah.
He played Flick. He was the one who got his tongue stuck to the pole.
You know, until I saw that on your post, I completely separated those two characters. Like, it never occurred to me that they were the same guy. Because I used to love that movie, The Toy, when I was a kid with
Right.
Pryor.
Such a good movie.
They go, "This is Master Bates," and he starts cracking up, and everybody else got a straight face. He's like, "All right, never mind."
Yeah,
Master
that is a good movie. But yeah, I was able to land an interview with him, which was cool because Christmas Story is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time.
Yeah,
And so that was cool. Did you ever see the movie Hardball with Keanu Reeves?
With Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy who plays, I mean, he's like my age. I was gonna say the kid who plays him, but he's not a kid anymore.
Right.
But the one who plays Jefferson, Albert Tibbs, the heavier set one, who gets beat up.
Yeah.
I reached out to him on Instagram. He hit me back, and he's like, "Man, I'd love to come on your show." So
Yeah.
I interviewed him. I still got to release that one. I think that one's my next one to be released. But
Okay. I was gonna say I don't remember seeing that one on your on the breakdown.
Yeah, it's not on there yet. It's coming, but that was probably one of my favorite interviews because I loved that movie. growing up, I played baseball my whole life, so like I was like 11 when that came out. So
Yeah.
just being at that age, being the same age as those kids in the movie, it's one of my favorite movies. And when he reached out to me saying he'd come do my show, I was like, that's awesome. So that was probably one of my favorite episodes. And
What did
he
you?
told me the next time I'm in Chicago to hit him up, and we'll go get some pizza.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'd look for a reason to go to Chicago anyway, but hell yeah.
Right.
I was gonna ask you. See, there I went and did it again. What position did you play in baseball?
I was a shortstop.
Oh, look at you bragging.
Yeah. I was not to toot my own horn or anything. I was pretty good.
Yeah,
But I played second base every once in a while when they needed it. But I was a shortstop my whole life, all the way down from like t-ball all the way up to high school. It's
nice.
just my favorite position. I was good at it. Yeah, so I was played shortstop, played outfield like one time. It was all
Yeah,
right, but I was like, nah, I like the action.
yeah. You
Because
get
shortstop, I mean,
little
you get
bring out
so
there.
much action at short.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're
So
involved in just
yeah,
about everything.
just about. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I used to. I really wanted to be an infielder, but I just wasn't very good. Wasn't very good at it. So I ended up being a catcher just because I think I was one of like 3 kids that were willing to do it, and then out of those 3, I ended up being one of the better ones. So then that stuck. But
Right.
yeah,
I
then I
would see. I wouldn't have minded being a catcher. I think.
yeah, you're in on
I mean,
every play.
right, and you control a lot being a catcher. I mean,
Hmm.
a lot of people don't give catchers enough credit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
no, for sure. They're the only person that can see everybody on the field at the same time. So when the
exactly.
catcher says, "Hey, move," you're not supposed to be like, "Ah, he doesn't know." You're supposed to go, "Oh, okay, catcher knows."
Right. But I'm not built like a catcher.
No.
Like my body physique is not built like a catcher. I'm perfect. I'm built perfect for a shortstop. So it just uh it just came. I tried pitching. Um, I was okay at it, but I wasn't the best. So I knew my strengths, and so I stayed where I knew I would impact the
Yeah.
most. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to stay stay in your lane sometimes because I tried to
Right.
pitch one time in a game and I ended up striking out all 3 outs, but I think I walked 7 or 8 guys. So I gave up like 2 hits, 7 walks, and struck out 3 guys. And then
At least you got
and
a
then
couple strikeouts.
and then the coach was like, "I didn't want to play you out in the middle of the inning, but you're done." I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I understand. That's awesome.
So and then I never went back on the mound again after that, except to talk to a pitcher with a mask on.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right, now I'm going to get into that last podcast that you're going to start. What's that one going to be about, or have you already recorded that one yet?
We're actually gonna record here in a couple days, our first episode, which you will probably know being from Michigan.
Mhm.
Our first episode's on the Oakland County child killer.
Oh my god! Oh, so is this
Hmm.
going to be a true crime one?
It's a true crime podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, because me and my wife were both big into true crime. The ID channel, we watch that all the time. I've always been into true crime. She is too. So it was a perfect fit for us to come together and do a podcast. So yeah, we're good. The podcast is called Most Heinous.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just find different cases that are obvious, really heinous crimes. Well, I mean, most murders are heinous. I mean, you're taking
Right. Right.
someone's
Right.
life. You know what I mean? But
Sure. Sure. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like really messed up crimes. I've gone back and forth on like how we were gonna do the show. Like, what we originally planned on doing was like doing we were gonna pick a random state every week
Hmm.
and we were gonna do 2 episodes a week. We were gonna do one unsolved and one solved crime from every state.
Ah, that's very cool.
But don't know if we're gonna go that route yet or if we're just gonna do random cases now, just whatever we we feel like doing. But yeah, we have
It might be hard to find the matching criteria for every single one. Like, I don't know if South Dakota's got a ton of stuff on the books. I'm sure they do somewhere.
I'm sure they do, but
Yeah.
somewhere. But yeah, so we just may just go the route of just picking a different crime, regardless of where it's from, and just doing that each week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so hopefully we're gonna record in a couple of days. Hopefully, I'm gonna release that one here within the next couple weeks.
So then, how much time do you think you're going to be putting in every week? If you had to guess, just doing podcast stuff like editing, promos, and then of course recording.
Many hours. A lot of my time. A lot of my time. Luckily, right now, I step back from work a little bit to where I can focus more on my podcasting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so my time's opened up more. That way, I can actually spend the time to focus on podcasting.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so gonna make a run at it, see how far it gets me, and go from there.
Yeah. And by trade, you said I think I heard you say that you are or were a mechanic.
Diesel mechanic.
Diesel mechanic. Okay.
With Penske.
Oh, okay. I was a mechanic, but I worked on mostly helicopters when I was in the Navy for a few years. But
Mm-hmm.
the stuff I did on helicopters would basically equate to like brakes and body on a car. I just I patched up metal and rivets and stuff like that and worked on all the hydraulic systems.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was something. But
right.
I
I
obviously didn't love it
family
enough to stay doing it, but
yeah, both of my cousins, one of my cousins was in the Army, National Guard. He was a mechanic. And then my other his younger brother is in the Army. He's stationed in Kansas right now, but he's a mechanic in the Army. So
yeah.
have a few mechanics in there.
Yeah. It was a good job to do, and I don't know, I learned some stuff that I guess still applies, but for the most part, people will be like, "You can't fix your car, weren't you a mechanic?" I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like my car doesn't have any rivets. So
Right.
unless there's a busted rivet that needs to get screwed out and replaced, then I'm not much good on the actual engine and stuff that makes it go, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, and what people don't realize is there's different types of mechanics.
Hmm.
Just because you're a mechanic in one thing doesn't mean you know how to fix something, the mechanics in another thing. Like diesel trucks and just your everyday driving vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
totally different. Totally different.
Really?
I mean, yeah, you'll have some of the basic knowledge
Yeah.
of it just from being a mechanics, but like but you if you're a diesel mechanic, more than likely you'll be able to fix a car or know enough to fix a car. But if you're just a basic car mechanic, you're probably not going to be able to do diesel work.
Hmm.
I mean, not saying they can't. I mean, if you're good at mechanics and just know how to do it, you are. But getting the basic knowledge of being a car mechanic and trying to be a diesel mechanic, it's a big jump in mechanics. So there's a lot more you got to learn with being a diesel mechanic.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
just trying to learn how to start up a diesel truck. It was like a like one of those small water trucks, but they gave it to us as a transportation vehicle. And yeah, you had to like pull something out and then start something and then push something in and then start something else and then go. I was like, what is going on here? There's like a checklist of things you have to do just before you start this thing.
Right. It's a mess.
But you know what though?
It's a lot of work.
I've seen people online though that say that if you have a diesel truck, it's really easy to convert to biodiesel, and then you can just like run your car on Chinese restaurant oil, stuff like that.
Maybe I've
You
never
don't know
tried
anything
it.
about that?
I
Okay.
don't.
I was say, man,
little above my knowledge of it, but
oh shoot, I was gonna say, man, I would want to go buy an old truck. Maybe you and I could hang out, and then I could have a truck that when you drive around, it smells like egg rolls.
I mean, we can figure it out.
That'd be badass.
Right?
So, what else is going on with the podcast? You got any big news coming up, or any changes in format, big guests, or big announcements coming up with anything?
No, man, still basically all the same I'm doing now. I'm starting to book more people for the Drunk Conspiracies just so I
Mhm.
can start getting back on that weekly basis of putting out an episode every week. I'm probably going to reach out to some people that I've done episodes with in the past just because I like having reoccurring guests. I think it's fun and keeps me in touch with the people that I've met through podcasting. So I like doing that. Like how you and Jason came into my show and then now I'm doing your show. Like
Yeah.
I like doing stuff like that, helping me out with my show, so I like to return the favor and help you guys out. I mean, I'm not a big name, so I mean, it's not like
You
I don't know.
you
I don't
nor
know
me.
how well I'm helping you out. Yeah, I don't know how well I'm helping you out with listening shit, but I don't know. It's fun to get on other people's shows and
Yeah.
get
Well,
your
and
name out there and do
that
that.
that's what people keep telling me is the best way to grow your show is just give yourself to somebody else's listeners one time and then see if some of them want to keep coming back.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. And then with my one-on-one show, still sending out those emails, but just waiting to hear back from some people and see if I get any hooks. I did get you know the band Less Than Jake.
Oh yeah, dude.
I reached out to the lead singer because he does podcasting. He has his own podcast,
He does?
and yeah, I can't think of the name off it off my top of my head, but
Oh, I can Google that
I,
easy though.
but yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs. I saw them at Warped Tour, and they were good. So I was like, you know what? I'll shoot my shot, shoot or shoot. So
Yeah.
like that's what I do. He got back to me, and he's like, man, I'd love to do your show. He's like I'm backed up like 6 months with projects right now. But he's like, but once everything with the pandemic like cools down and we start touring again, he goes, as soon as you see us go on tour again, hit me up. I'll do your show. He goes, I'll have more time to do it then.
Yeah,
So I'm just waiting for Less Than Jake to get back on the road so I
yeah.
can interview the lead singer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oddly enough, small world, right? I used to one of the last girls I dated before me and my wife got back together for the final time when it stuck and we got married. She didn't live with. She lived in the same apartment complex, and they hung out with the lead singer's sister. I want to say it was, and then I think the two of them were in a band together. But
No
yeah,
shit.
I don't know. That's not really that
That's
interesting now
that's
that I'm done
crazy.
saying it, but
It's still interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
something.
right.
Yeah,
But yeah, just hoping I get some more people to bite now that I've got more names on my show.
yeah,
Because just starting out on a new show like that, it's hard to book celebrities just because they some of them will ask like their publicists and stuff. They will ask like who were your past interviews.
yeah.
So like right there, I'm just like, man, like starting out being like a brand new podcast and not having anyone yet, it's just like it's hard to book people. But luckily I've been able to book a few a few known names in Hollywood, and I started booking some fighters like UFC and
Yeah,
bare
yeah.
knuckle fighters, so that's
Those
been
bare
kind of
knuckle
cool
guys are
too.
insane, man.
Dude, I know I interviewed Joe Hitman and dude, he was cool, man. I had no idea what bare knuckle was. I've seen bare knuckle boxing before,
Yeah.
but he fights for bare knuckle fighting championship, which is new. And I was just scrolling through Instagram one day, and I came across the clip and him knocking this dude out in like 52 seconds.
Oh, a
And
lot of
like
those fights
it
are short,
yeah, and it's straight bare knuckle, like,
and
and it's and
they start like a foot away from each other, and the guy's just like go, and they just immediately start swinging.
dude, it's crazy. And I was just like, this is nuts. I'm like, I love this. I was like, I gotta watch more of this. So I'm watching more, and but I did come across Joe, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna see if he'll come on my show.
Yeah.
Uh, Reached out to him. He super into it. He was like, hell yeah, man, I'll come to your show. So I interviewed him, and yeah, man, it's crazy. And he's one of the best in his weight class right now. I'm pretty sure he's still undefeated in it. So he's killing it right now in the
It's saying
sport. But
something, man. 'Cause, like
yeah.
I've watched a couple of those where like you'll seriously see like punch a guy's on the ground.
hmm It's crazy. And
Yeah.
he told me it's the fastest growing combat sport ever because it's becoming so popular. Do you watch UFC at all?
Yeah.
Do you know the female fighter Paige Van Zant?
Yeah, she doesn't fight anymore, does she?
She signed with bare knuckle.
Are you serious? I
So
thought she
yeah,
like
like
almost died in a UFC fight once.
she got her ass kicked a few times, yeah. But no, like yeah, like they're starting to sign UFC fighters
Huh.
in this sport, and it's crazy, and it's blowing up, and it's pretty cool. And I did another interview with another fighter. He had his first fight in the ring, and I interviewed him about it, and it was pretty cool.
One more podcast question on the technical side of things. Buzzsprout, because I use Podbean. I know that their statistic feedback is all a little bit different. Does it tell you like what cities people are downloading from, or does because mine just tells me what state and what country people are coming from? It doesn't give me any more specific info than that.
No, it does. I don't even see a state. It only tells me country.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Unless I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
But I've looked and I've tried to see. I can only see countries and then what platform they're using to listen to my show. But
Hmm.
at the end of the year, Buzzsprout sent out an email telling me like my most downloaded episode, but it did tell me like the most downloaded state, and the most down the most Atlanta, Georgia was my most downloaded city and state.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't even know. I mean,
I
I
was
don't
gonna
even
say,
know
was
anyone
one of
in
your
Atlanta. So
did one of
someone
your
out there in Atlanta is listening to me. So thank you.
rock on Atlanta?
Right?
All right, man. Well, I don't have a whole lot of questions left for you. So I guess I'll just say, if there's anything else you want to say about your shows, anything else you got going on, and then let people know where they can find the shows, where they can find you.
Not much more going on right now. Like I said, I'm just trying to get back on my routine of putting out an episode every week. So if you have any listeners that like to talk conspiracy theories and want to come on my show, you can find me on Facebook, Drunk Conspiracies Podcast Discussion Group. I'm on Instagram at Drunk Conspiracies Podcast. I just got my Twitter back. I'm trying to get back and on Twitter. So that's Drunk Con Pod. So Drunk CONPOD for Twitter. And then TikTok, you can follow me on TikTok too at Drunk Conspiracies Podcast as well. And then for my one-on-one show, I'm on Instagram, one-on-one with Justin Diatrima. And then I don't have a Facebook group for that one yet. Probably should get one going with that. And then I do have an Instagram for my new show, Most Heinous. So I'm trying to start building up a little following before we release that. But other than that, I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and pretty much almost anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. So look for Drunk Conspiracies Podcast and one-on-one with, make sure I say this right, Justin Diatremont.
Yes, perfect.
I said it right? Yes.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you again. Let's do this again, man. Your show, my show, I don't care.
We'll do both.
Yes. Awesome,
Yeah,
man. And because last time when we were on your show, what did we talk about? We talked about maybe coming on and talking about Tupac if nobody else has brought that one up.
That's right. Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, buddy. Oh man, your show. So many times I listen to that and I go, "Oh, I want to tell you this part, this part, this part." So being on that show was so much fun, man. I can't wait to do it again.
Right. Real quick though, speaking of Tupac, for my one show, my one-on-one, I actually reached out to the head detective who reopened the Tupac and Biggie case in
No way.
California. Yeah, and he got back to me. He said he would do my show, and then I responded back, and I haven't heard anything back from him. So I may have to try to reach back out to him to get on my show. But I think
Yeah.
that I'm hoping I can interview him because
Oh, that would be
I'm a big
amazing.
like yeah Biggie's my favorite rapper of all time. So if I could get the detective who was looking into those cases, who reopened them some years ago, because he wrote a book about them and everything like that too. So that'd be a cool interview. But yeah, man, I'd love to have you back on, and we'll talk Tupac.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, take care of that kid. Take care of that wife, and keep rocking on those podcasts.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, all right. That was Justin D'Atremont, host of the Drunk Conspiracies Podcast, to name a few. Me and Jason were on the COVID episode. Look for that. Also go and check out Hey Guys Media Group, Rivertown Adventures, and Baby Farm Soaps. You can see all the links in the notes. I love you. I appreciate you. Mwah. Have a good one.